So, Gail, how do you grab the audience's attention for real?
I love talking about this because I feel it's one of the most important parts of a presentation, grabbing the audience attention. Here's what's fascinating. There's three different parts in a presentation where you can grab them: at the start, in the middle, and at the end. If you miss the beginning, you have another opportunity in the middle. You also have the opportunity at the end. But if you grab them at the beginning, your very first word, you set the tone, you engage them, and you have an opportunity to get them to lean in. They lean in and want to know more. So it's a really important piece to be able, as part of your presentation. And it's the only part of the presentation I encourage you to absolutely memorize.
Okay.
Rehearse it, memorize, so you start hitting the ground running.
Sounds amazing. Any tips?
So I have several. I actually have five different ways that I'm encouraging people to use in their presentations to start. It's called a hot start, meaning you start engaging from the very beginning. Now, most people, the most common opening to a presentation is, "Hello, my name is Gail Green, and I'm here to talk to you about presentation tips." All of that is kind of rhetoric. People are just they're fidgeting in their seat. It doesn't pull them in. I encourage you to start with a hot start. And then after, if you need to say your name, you go ahead and say your name after you've started.
Okay. Makes sense.
But let me give you several. Yeah. Let me give you several ways that you can actually do that.
Okay.
One is with a current piece of news, a news factoid. Whatever you do in your hot start, however, it has to tie to your message. That's why just a joke at the beginning it relaxes your audience, but it doesn't necessarily tie into what you're saying. These need to tie in. So a current piece of news, for example, there have been over 3,000 earthquakes already in Southern California this year. I want to talk to you about something in the shaking in our finance department that I want us to look deeper and look through together.
Right.
Then I could say, "My name is Gail Green," and move on.
Great.
So you have something like, a hook that can be powerful, can be, in this case, it's powerful, it's changing, it's shaking, any of those tying into your message.
Okay.
Another one is the rhetorical question. Asking a question right up front is great. A rhetorical question is a question you answer yourself. So it pulls your audience in because the minute you ask a question, you start the engagement process. Let me give you an example. What would it be like if everyone in your company lived day to day by your mission, vision, and values?
Yeah, that's
I want
really
to talk
powerful.
about some of those proposed changes, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
What would it be like? I like that. Yeah.
What would it be like? So a rhetorical question, it takes a little bit of preparing up front. Of course, you want to memorize it. Of course, you want to rehearse it so it's in your brain and in your body, because presenting is a physical sport. Even if you're sitting in a chair in front of online in front of a screen, it is still physical. It's through the energy barrels through your whole body. So rehearsing it is really great.
Great.
But it's interesting. If you have a really good hot start, it will tend to relax you and it will relax the audience. Then it makes the rest of your presentation flow with greater ease. Another way to a hot start is a metaphor or an analogy. So a metaphor is replacing something with something else. An analogy is comparing two things. So let me give you a few examples. There is a hole in the fence and we've got to fix it. I want to talk to you about the latest technology we're working with in our department that we want to roll out to many other departments.
Right. That's a very strong image to start with. That's really good.
Yeah. Pulls people in. What hole?
Yeah.
How about this one? Are we hitched to the right wagon for the years ahead? Let's talk about some of the changes we've been making that will now impact our distribution, our warehousing, and all the way to the front line.
And all your examples so far, there's a pause after the question or the news item. I love that little moment there when you just, people, like you say, start leaning. It's like, what did I just hear?
The great is, I'm happy you picked up on that, Alex, because the pause gives them a chance to integrate. What did I just hear? And then be ready for whatever else is coming.
That's good.
It's a way to emphasize and underline it.
Yeah.
Another way is with a quote. And this is for people who are not used to doing some of these others. It's a great way to start. Often people use quotes in their presentation. I encourage people to have a good, simple one up front, but you've got to memorize it and you got to rehearse it. So here's a real simple one. People join companies, people leave managers. I want to talk today about the ways we are rolling out our leadership development training throughout all areas of the organization so that we all are working with alignment towards greater productivity.
So Gail, are you saying don't even mention your first name to start with? You go straight for...
You don't start with your name. You don't start with your name. They're going to expect it. They're going to lean in all the more because you're not starting with your name. You're starting with something that's like, wow. And then after you can say your name. So say something powerful, pull them in, link it to the message, and then say your name.
Great.
And I have one more. And this may be the most scary for some, most of a reach for some, but that is to start with a prop, which may even be you. So you could be the prop, or you can have a prop. If it's a product you're wanting to get people on board with, here it is. If it's a spreadsheet you want people to work with, here it is. If it's something novel and new, it might be you standing on one foot, doing a wheel, maybe wagging a flag. It's something to grab attention that this is new, different, changing. I want to get you on board is what you're really saying. But whatever it is, then you need a sentence tagging it, linking it to your message. And with all of these, I really encourage you to memorize, rehearse, and it will relax you, it will relax your audience, and then before you know, you're into the body and having a great time. Having a great time presenting.
Awesome. That's super useful. Thank you, Gail. And by the way, I invite people to check out your introduction video at the top of your homepage, because there's a really good hook that starts the video.